Welcome back into Clay and Buck live here at the RNC. Our amazing lineup today of fantastic guests continues on. We were talking Senate yesterday. We're going to be talking Senate every day because we hope Trump is going to win looking good. But if we don't have control of the Senate and the House, things get slowed down a lot. And if you're picking a Senate seat that is absolutely critical, if you think it might be the most critical, I think a lot of people will be with you. It will be this race in Pennsylvania. Dave McCormick is with us now. He's a veteran. He is a very successful businessman, understands economics. But Dave, we have to have you start for us with, you were there in Butler, Pennsylvania, right there.
Yeah.
Right next to the president, right in the line of fire. That is the truth. Tell us about it.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. I met the president backstage when he got there. He got to Butler. He did some pictures with folks. And he said to me, hey, I want to have you come up on the stage. I want to have you come talk. I want to talk about your race. So when he got out there, I was sitting on the ground level, right to the right of him in the first row. And he got into the speech a couple minutes, and he said, hey, this Senate race is important. Dave McCormick, I want you to come up. And he invited me to come up to the stage to talk. And so I started to go through the security and got through the first layer and was headed up to the podium. And then he goes, wait, I want to, he's saying this in front of 15,000 people. I want to finish the border thing. So I want to do this chart. I'll have you come back up later. So go, you can go sit down. And I went and sat down, and then 2 minutes later, the bullets started. So, I mean, it was very possible. And the president said that after the fact, I talked to him the other day, he said, 2 minutes, you would have been right in the middle of it. And it was pretty clear to me as a military officer that this was gunfire pretty quick. I couldn't tell if it was one or two. I thought there might be two shooters. And I saw the president go down. I saw him grab his ear and go down. And the Secret Service was on top of him almost immediately. And there was somebody hit behind me, so I was sort of seeing it on two sides. And then I saw this amazing thing, which I'll never forget, which is the president standing up, and this phalanx of guards, Secret Service guys around him. And I see this fist pop out, and this fist of defiance and
now the
reassurance.
iconic photo as well, yeah.
And courage. And I'll tell you guys, I think if 100 people were in that situation, 98, 99 are in the fetal position.
Yeah.
And they're not getting back up.
And I've said this, I wouldn't blame them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got gunfire coming in. You got to stay down.
I mean, we didn't know if there's more shooters. We didn't know if the shooter was dead. There was no way to know. And the fact that he got up, I was absolutely, I'll never forget that image. And then they moved, and you could see his face was bloody. And so two things were happening for me at the same time. I guess three things. One, they were moving the president off the stage. The gentleman behind me was 25 feet behind me was hit badly, and people were trying to stop.
How quickly were you aware of that, by the way?
About the sort of same time as they were moving Trump off the stage, it became clear somebody behind us was hit. And then we were all down because we didn't know if there was more
additional
shooting.
Shooters, yeah.
Yeah, and it was quite a surreal moment.
Okay, you have a military background. The fact that they allowed this 20-year-old to get up onto the top of that location, that shed basically, and take a shot at Trump. How much of a failure is it of the Secret Service? You mentioned the guy behind you dead because of that failure. Is there any way that the head of the Secret Service should still have her job? And how in the world is that level of failure even possible? You were there. Now that you've seen all that, you experienced it, but now that you've seen how it happened, how is that possible?
Honestly, it's going to be something we're going to have to study at great length. It is a failure of such magnitude. It's unimaginable to me. I worked earlier with President Bush, and I traveled with him. I know what the security looks like. The idea that the initial answer I heard was, well, that rooftop was not in the envelope. I mean, it's the crazy thing. That rooftop, 130 yards, any Pennsylvania deer hunter with a high-powered rifle and a scope is going to make that shot.
Yeah.
And so the fact that the president turned his head just at that moment saved his life and saved us from a national catastrophe. So it's impossible for me to imagine that failure. And you see here, everything you hear makes it sounds worse. And it's impossible for me to imagine the person in charge of the organization that oversaw that failure should be in their position.
You worked in business. You also worked in military. Holding people responsible for success or failure is a big part of anyone in the military or business. Shouldn't Joe Biden, as a matter of just basic responsibility, have demanded a resignation there? Because by grace of God, is the only reason Trump wasn't killed. They completely failed in their job.
Absolutely. And listen, there's always going to be, in any organization, things that happen that the leader has to be held accountable for. The leader of the organization is responsible. But in this particular case, the degree of failure changes the course of history.
It's so incompetent as well that I have a hard time trying to explain to people the level of incompetence without disbelief.
Right.
And I don't begrudge their disbelief because no one wants to think that the Secret Service / law enforcement working with them in this capacity could mess up so blatantly.
Right.
We've been talking about this. This wasn't someone taking a shot from 1,000 yards out who had real expertise, and that could be very dangerous too. This was the most obvious place to take the most obvious shot, and so it's stunning that there has been no accountability yet. And I understand people not trusting the FBI right now either, on given what's going on with Trump. But
and we don't know. It's hard also to imagine, and we'll find out more. A 20-year-old kid, cooked up this idea,
and we almost know nothing about him still, which is classic for the politics here.
And then orchestrated this entire thing without anybody else knowing or helping in any way.
It seems very
Bomb
strange.
making. By the way, this story has come out today too, Buck. The guy had a rangefinder, and the Secret Service was aware that he was coming in with a rangefinder. And I saw
Gotta be kidding
one
me.
of our friends, Hemingway, said today that she had her
Molly,
Molly Hemingway got her. I saw her tweeting that her little air mister was taken by the Secret Service. They wouldn't allow it to be brought in. The fact that a rangefinder, I mean, he's not on a golf course. Why in the world would somebody be allowed to bring a rangefinder to a political
the
rally?
level of incompetence is so bad that people are going to have a hard time accepting that it was incompetence. But I did want to ask, because you're in this critical race, and we've only got a couple minutes with you. How's it looking right now in Pennsylvania? What's the dynamic out there?
I mean, honestly, I feel great about it. Pennsylvania's tough. I mean, it's a tough state because the stakes are so high. But I think I'm going to win this race, and I'm going to win this race largely because I said this last night in my speech. This is a race with a choice between strength and weakness. Strength and weakness at the top of the ticket with President Trump and President Biden. If you didn't think it was strength and weakness before, watch that debate performance and then watch that performance on the stage when President Trump. This is what it's about at a time when adversaries around the world are testing us, challenging us. Our economy's in deep trouble. Wide open border that's creating a fentanyl crisis. The list goes on and on.
I'm going to come campaign with you. I'm making a promise again.
All right.
We're going to get it officially lined up now. We're going to come to a Penn State game, maybe that Ohio State game. I've got to look at your team. We're going to be there. I want people who are listening right now in Pennsylvania or just Big Ten football fans, come out. We're going to have a fun event that we're going to do, and it's super important that we take back your Senate seat in Pennsylvania and flip Senate control to hopefully Donald Trump's team and the Republicans.
Man, I love your support. Dave McCormick, PA.com is where people can find out about me. And the thing I'll say is wherever I go in Pennsylvania, it feels like we're building momentum and a movement because people want to take the country back. And thank you all for what you're doing to make that happen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you. Jerry Padgett enlisted in the U.S. Navy and deployed multiple times to Iraq and Afghanistan. While on patrol, Jerry was injured by an improvised explosive device. He suffered a spinal cord injury, a traumatic brain injury, and audio and visual impairments. Nothing can reverse the damage done to Jerry's body. But through the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, we can honor heroes like Jerry in gratitude for their tremendous sacrifices. We understand the price of freedom and respect the brave men and women who put their lives on the line defending it every day. Thanks to friends like you, Jerry and his family moved into a smart home at the Foundation's Let Us Do Good Village in Florida, where he can live independently thanks to technology and special construction. Nothing can repay the price of freedom, but your donation can change the lives of those who selflessly sacrifice for our country. Join Clay and me in donating $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.